Samantha Vandenberg versus Elizabeth Parra.
Your Honor, this case is about money my former roommate owed and costs I had to pay because of her actions after we terminated our lease early. She refused to pay her share of the final 2 months of rent, canceled Wi-Fi while I was still living there, threatened to cancel electricity unless I immediately transferred it, kept my half of the security deposit, and left her private areas unclean, which caused cleaning expenses. I have texts, receipts, photos supporting each claim, and I'm also prepared to address her counterclaim, which contradicts our written agreements. To give the court context, our lease began at the end of March, and the defendant moved in at that time, but I did not physically move in until the end of June because I was finishing out a prior lease. We had written agreements about how rent and utilities would be handled before I moved in. And then later in September, we signed early termination paperwork and gave a 30-day notice ending on November 3rd. But while I was still living there, several expenses arose that I had to cover, and the written timeline can be seen in Exhibit 3. So my first claim is for rent. After we signed the early termination paperwork, she refused to pay her share of the final 2 months of rent, even though we were still responsible for that housing cost. I like to refer to Exhibit 4, which contains the text messages where she refuses to pay the rent. And Exhibit 5 shows my bank statements showing that I paid the full rent for October and then the prorated rent for November. For this category, I'm requesting $886.86. My second claim is for Wi-Fi. While I was still living in the apartment, she canceled the shared Wi-Fi without notice because I work from home and still lived there for about 3 more weeks. I had to pay to reinstall service, and I'm asking to be reimbursed for the actual cost her unilateral cancellation has cost me. And Exhibit 6 contains the text messages where she admitted she canceled it. And Exhibit 7 is the confirmation showing the amount I had to pay to restore the Wi-Fi service. For this category, I'm requesting $116.37. My third claim is for electricity. In that same conversation thread, she told me to transfer the electricity into my name or she would cancel it while I was still living there, and that I would have to take it up with the property management, which forced me to immediately open up a new account and incur setup costs. Exhibit 8, which is the same as Exhibit 4, contains those messages. And Exhibit 9 is proof of the setup and costs I had to pay.
What was that exhibit?
I'm sorry, it's Exhibit 8 is the messages
Okay.
where she threatens to cancel the electricity, which is the same
Let me
as
read that.
before.
Okay.
And then
then
Exhibit
costs.
9 is
Okay.
the confirmation. So for this category, I'm requesting 135 even. My fourth claim is for security deposit. After move out, the security deposit refund was mailed to her address. I requested my half, but she never responded or sent it. Exhibit 10 shows my contribution to the deposit that I paid the defendant prior to move-in, which includes first month's rent of April, move-in fees, my pet deposit, and pet rent. Exhibit 11 shows the refund or move-out ledger. And then Exhibit 12 is my request for my share and her failure to respond. So for this category, I'm requesting $116.03. My fifth claim is for cleaning. She left her bedroom and bathroom in an unclean condition when she moved out. And I paid for cleaning so that we can recover that security deposit and leave the unit in move-in condition. Exhibit 13 is photographs of the condition she left her bathroom. And then exhibit 14 is the cleaning invoice. For this category, I'm requesting half of that cleaning invoice, which is $87.50. And then my last claim is for moving expenses. I'm also requesting $750 in moving related costs that I had to incur as a result of the early termination and having to move out only 2 months after I had just moved in. I have a 1-page damages summary that totals the amounts I'm
When did you
requesting.
move out? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
When did you move out?
Your Honor, I moved out October 19th or 20th,
Okay.
and I moved in June
July.
28th.
I have July 1st. Okay.
I have a 1-page damages summary located in that folder that totals the amounts that I'm requesting and ties each amount to the corresponding exhibits. My total requested amount is $2,091.76. And I would also like to briefly address the defendant's counterclaim.
All right.
Her counterclaim is inconsistent with the written agreements we had regarding rent and utilities before I moved in.
Do you have that agreement?
Yes, yes, Your Honor. So the agreement is in Exhibit 16.
Okay.
She's claiming I owe full half of rent for May and June. However, before I moved in, the defendant offered in text that I would only pay her $200 in May and $200 in June, and then we would begin splitting the rent in half starting July when I move in.
Okay, hold on. Let me read this. Where does it say 200? Where does it say that you're supposed to pay 200? It just says you're not moving into the end of June anyways. I can pay most of the rent May and June. It doesn't seem fair to you to pay 2 rents, but it doesn't say how much.
Yes, Your Honor. It doesn't show in that message, but in
Okay,
the
hold on,
next.
hold on. In Exhibit 18, it says 200 is good on Exhibit 18.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Exhibit 17 shows my Apple
Payments.
statement to the
Mhm.
defendant for 200 in May and then 200 in June, showing I complied to that agreement.
Okay.
So I do not owe the additional rent she is now claiming. She is also claiming I owe electricity for May and June, but I explicitly told her I would not begin paying electricity until I moved in July. Her acknowledgement is shown in Exhibit 18. Unfortunately, we had that conversation in person, but that message, October 18th, Exhibit 18 shows that I messaged her that she's responsible for electricity. She also claims I owe an October electricity bill. However, I incurred additional electricity setup costs because she intended to terminate service while I was still living there. And that cost offset or exceeds the amount she is claiming, which is supported by both Exhibit 9 and 19.
Okay. So, let's see. She is asking for utilities of $257.33. Is that what it is?
So Exhibit 19 shows the electricity bill for October, which is not documented to reflect that amount. And then electricity was transferred into my name starting September.
Because this is September 23rd. So that was your bill.
That was my bill for October.
Well, it was for the electricity you used in September.
Yes.
Because it's at the end of September. So it was for the electricity that you all used in September.
Yes.
Okay.
And then lastly, Your Honor, she stated she kept my portion of security deposit because of financial stress I allegedly caused her, but that's not a legal basis to keep my money. Security deposits should be distributed based on actual entitlement and valid deductions, not personal financial stress.
Okay. All right. So how much do you think she owes you in total?
I am requesting the 2000.
9176.
Yes, Your Honor. I did send, unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it, a hard copy, but I can pull it up on my phone. I sent the defendant a demand letter giving her 30 days to just pay me half of the rent that she owes and my security deposit and the cleaning fees. And then I would forgive electricity and Wi-Fi. I gave her 30 days to correspond with me and she did not correspond. So therefore I filed for small claims court.
All right. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a copy for yourself as well that
Okay.
I.
Thank you.
Okay. Your Honor, on the fourth page, there's a timeline of events. I did move in on March 29th. That's the day that I moved in 2025. She did move in, I believe it was like June 28th
You're
or
gonna have to speak up a little bit.
she moved in on June 28th, and that's when she moved into the residence. Initially, yes, there was an agreement for the $200 because she did have a prior lease that, you know, I acknowledged, and once she did move in, it was never, hey, we're gonna pay this back or anything like that. But once it was leaning towards the end of the termination and, you know, she initiated the termination, she went to the leasing office to have a conversation with them. And we leaned towards ending the termination early. We both went to the leasing office and we both signed the lease and termination. And out of good faith, I'm the one that paid the $1,900 termination fee. So
You wanted to move out with your boyfriend.
yeah, so I paid the $1,900 termination fee, and if the argument is that if everything was a shared expense initially, that wasn't a shared expense as well. As far as the Wi-Fi, that was paid by a third party, which I also have a statement, if you would want to review that. There's a statement from the
Who was
third,
the third party?
it was an old friend, it was an ex-boyfriend.
And he was paying the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so before I moved into that residence at 436, I lived at apartment complex, apartment 1215. And as a favor, when I first initially moved to Texas, he was paying for the internet. So when I moved out and cleared out my belongings on September 26th, on the 27th, I returned the Spectrum equipment so they wouldn't charge him anymore. So reinstating internet would be more of a personal choice, you know, as far as the.
Hold on one second. Did you know that Caesar was paying for that internet?
Yes, Your Honor, we were not splitting Wi-Fi, but she never offered me to pay that bill after she moved out. And she did not give me notice that, hey, this day I'm going to cancel the Wi-Fi. She just did it without notice while I was out of state on vacation. And like I argued, I still had 3 weeks to live there. So I was forced to open up a new Wi-Fi account so I can continue working from home and going to school.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, so I had cleared out from the complex I rented a U-Haul and cleared out by the 19th, September 19th. And then within the following week is when I went to clear out the garage of my items, my belongings. And I completely cleared out on the 26th. And on the 27th, that's when I returned the Spectrum equipment. And there was communication from those messages that she reached out and she asked if I canceled the internet, and I responded and I had said, since I'm not living there anymore, I just returned the equipment just so they wouldn't charge him anymore. She further asked if I had canceled the electricity, and I in messages, I responded, I did not cancel the electricity. But I did send her like the final statement as an image. She asked for the last four of my social so she can pay for the last bill. I provided that information for her. And then in messages, again, I think it was, she had threatened to like sue me. And then at that point, that's when I canceled I think she had called first to cancel the electricity. And when I had called to cancel it, it was already canceled.
So she canceled it.
Correct. So she canceled it and reinstated electricity in her name, and those were her fees that she acquired. As far as the Wi-Fi as well, I canceled it because it was on somebody else was paying for it, and those were fees that she acquired on her own.
Okay.
She also addressed the cleaning fees. Since I had moved out by the 26th, returned the keys. I just didn't have any more, I didn't log into the accounts anymore. So as far as the cleaning fees, this is the first time that I'm seeing the cleaning fees. And
She says she sent you a demand letter. You put the cleaning fees on the demand letter, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
yeah,
Alright,
so the
so-
cleaning fees
so-
were on the demand letter, but I didn't know where those cleaning fees were coming from. So there
Okay.
wasn't any
But
like,
you didn't respond anyway, so,
I did not respond to
Okay,
the demand
alright.
letter.
okay. What about the rent, the October and November rent?
Yes, the October, November rent, she initially, I was going to assist her with like paying the rest of it. But then when I brought up the termination fee, she, in one of the messages, she was arguing that it was financial harm to her. But the $1,900, I had paid the half of the September rent and the $1,900 on top of that, that was on me. So in one of the messages, I said, okay, maybe we can split the $1,900 and then, I can continue helping you out with the month of October and then the 3 days of November. But that
You're the
wasn't,
one who wanted to break the lease, so.
it was the conversation was verbally we had conversations, there was disagreements, but she's the one that initiated the lease termination fee.
Oh.
We had given her, me and my husband had given her options like, hey, we can help pay for the rent, we could downsize. But I think because she wasn't going to be able to afford it and she still wanted my name on the contract. And it was like a verbal agreement to end
Your
it.
Honor, if I can
Hold on,
address.
hold on, hold on. So you moved in with her and her husband.
Your Honor, we signed the lease before she met her boyfriend. And
Okay.
we signed the lease because I was quitting my job and starting an unpaid internship. And because we had a friendship of 9 years, I came to her and asked if she would be willing to be my roommate so that we can help each other out financially. 2 months into that rent, she met a boy and she wanted to move in with him. But because I was not working, I was doing an internship. Because of her failure to communicate, I just could not trust that she was going to continue paying her portion of rent when she was living somewhere else. So to cover my credit, I decided to agree to remove her name off of the lease so that she can move in with her boyfriend and I can downsize to an apartment in Seguin where my internship was. The only reason why I moved to Live Oak in that apartment complex is because she was already established there.
So, I'm just a little confused. So you moved in with her and then, you wanted to, I'm confused of who wanted to break the lease. You paid for it. You wanted to break it. So you paid for it. So that's only fair. If you wanted to break it, then you pay for it. Then you moved to Seguin.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And when did you move out?
Your Honor, I think it was around October 19th or 20th.
Then how come you're paying November rent?
Because we had to give a 30-day notice. We
Oh,
gave the
and so-
termination.
Okay,
It was a prorated, our lease ended November 3rd.
okay. But if you terminated it early, that was the early termination of the lease was November 3rd?
Yes, we had to give a 30-day notice, and then
Okay.
it's shown in Exhibit 2,
Okay,
Your Honor.
okay. And, so you paid the 1,900, because you wanted to move. Then you were there for October and November, just for 3 days, or you had to pay till the termination of the lease. When you moved out, ma'am, you were talking about you weren't going to pay for any of the rent? Or were you, because you didn't pay for any of the rent, right, for October and November?
Correct, because I had paid the $1,900 termination
Yes,
fee.
but the expiration, that did not release your responsibility till November the 3rd, right? Because that's when you had to give the notice to the apartment complex, and you're still responsible for that amount of money,
Correct.
right?
Correct, Your Honor. But then
Okay.
also from the start of the lease, when it began on March 29th.
But you agreed to $200. I saw that in the text messages.
Correct. So I saw it fair since I had paid the $1,900 termination fee, and she had contributed the $200 for the first 2 months. That was already like damage to myself. So towards the end of that is when I suggested the $1,900 termination fee.
I know, but you wanted to terminate it, so you should have to pay that. That only makes sense. And then y'all have to give a notice. And then the apartment complex said, okay, you have to pay the 1,900, but you're still responsible for the rent till November the 3rd. Okay, I'm getting it now. I'm like, y'all are all over the place. I'm like, okay, who's moving here and where and how? Okay, I got it. So, so is this October, when you're saying $785.34, that's half? Is that half or that's the full?
I'm sorry, which one are you referring to?
October, the October rent that you're
Yes, that's
requesting?
her half.
That's half. Okay, that's her half. Okay.
Yes,
All right. And the November 101, $101, that's her half
half
for
of
those
the
3 days.
prorated.
Yes, of the prorated.
Yes.
Now I'm getting it. I was a little confused. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So, all right. So then we have the rent, we have the cleaning fee. Okay. What about the security deposit?
The security deposit, I have the copy of the check itself. That was retained, but it was not for personal use. I use it to pay the like the remaining balances of the electricity.
Of the electricity for what months? And how much was the check again? It was like 200 and
It's
something.
like 232.
Yeah.
$232.06 or something.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That's how much they refunded.
It
And you're
was
saying you paid it
$232.06, which is what we were rewarded after move out.
Okay.
And I am just asking for half.
half? Yes. No, I got it. Okay. So what electricity bill are you saying that you paid this security deposit?
That one was for the month of September.
She has the one for month of September.
It's $108.77.
Okay. And you paid that, correct?
Your Honor, I did not pay this because I had to pay more to open up new electricity after she threatened that she's going to cancel it, and I would have to take it up with the property management, which is shown in the text messages.
Okay, well, when you move out of a property, you don't want the electricity in your name because you could put it on 60 degrees all day long and then she would have to pay for it and she'd be responsible for it. So I understand why she wouldn't want that in her name.
Correct. So yeah, so the electricity was for the September.
Was 108.77.
I paid 141.62.
Where'd you get that from? Because I'm looking at the bill and it says 108.77.
I think it was just a cancellation to cancel it.
Okay. So, but the bill was 108.77. Okay. All right, so. $108. There's all these numbers, like who owes who what. Okay, so for you to cancel it, I'm not going to charge her for your canceling it because obviously, you want to cancel it, then you can cancel it, but you got to pay for that too. So the 108.77 that's half yours and half hers, right? Okay. All right, so. The other, moving out expense, that's not her expense for you to move out. So I don't think that's your expense to move out. Security deposit, rent. Okay, what else do you have, ma'am? Is that it? We went over
Yeah,
the rent, the
rent,
cleaning
the
fee, the
electricity.
electricity, the Wi-Fi, the security deposit, the cleaning fee. Oh, I already said that.
Yeah.
And the moving fee. Is there anything else?
I believe that covers it, Your Honor.
Okay, y'all are gonna have to give me a minute so I can add all this up. This reminds me of my Tuesdays when I'm adding everything up. I don't know how I doing math all the time. Okay. Let's see here. Did you get it worked out, Miss Teresa? No. Okay, all right. 13th at 10 o'clock. They never, the one has not showed up, so I'm just gonna take care of that in a minute. Okay, well, let me figure this out first. All right. Rent, food, electricity, security deposit. The electricity, to put it in your name, I'm not gonna have her pay for that, just like I'm not gonna have you pay for her cancellation, canceling the lease or canceling the, electricity. Yes, the Wi-Fi was the third party, so she doesn't have to provide you with Wi-Fi. So if you wanted Wi-Fi, you've got to pay for that yourself. Move out fees. I mean, she paid for her own, you pay for your own. All right, so. Let me give this back. Thank you all for being so prepared. I appreciate it. So For plaintiff. The court is going to award the plaintiff $1,144.78 plus court costs and post judgment interest. And for the counterclaim, for the counterclaim, the plaintiff owes $54.39 for that last utility bill. So if you want to take that off of the 1144, it comes out to where she owes you $1,090.39 is what it amounts to.
Your Honor, can you take that off, the 54?
Well, I have to, since she filed a counterclaim,
Gotcha,
I have to award, I know.
gotcha.
But yes, so if you basically pay her the $1,090.39, then the counterclaim would be paid because that would subtract the 54.39 for that electric bill. Okay. Anyhow, that is the judgment. Y'all both have 21 days to appeal. Both of y'all have the right to appeal, but after going back and forth, I think that's fair for everybody. All right. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank y'all. And thank y'all for being so prepared. It's very nice. Okay.